Is it really worth moving to Singapore? Meet Denice, a Filipino-Chinese who has been living in Singapore since 2024. Today, she shares her biggest surprises about the country, how she made local friends, and why her life there is far from perfect. I'm Josh, your guide to life in Singapore. Let's go!
So hi, I'm Denise. So I just recently moved to Singapore around 1 year ago. Yeah.
What made you move to Singapore?
So basically, I've been wanting to work abroad for a while because I think it would be fun and I'd have a lot of freedom and independence. I used to work for Realme back in the Philippines, and then my boss got transferred to Realme Singapore. So I asked my boss to transfer me with him as well. So after some time, he was able to also transfer me here. So that's why I'm here.
How would you rate your living in Singapore after 1 year?
After 1 year, I would rate it a 9 over 10. So the one, why is it not perfect? Because it's hot, like hot every day. So one thing I wished for before moving abroad was maybe I'll go to a country where there's cold weather, but Singapore happened to like have an opportunity for me, and why not take it, right? So yeah, 9 out of 10.
Why 9 though?
So why 9? So I really like how it's very convenient here, very modern and safe. And at the same time, the culture is different, but at the same time, not so different from Philippines. So there's like really good food, all kinds of food, Asian, Western. And then there's lots of people here that you can meet from different races, and everyone is very open. And then also, I like that it's very safe, so I can walk around holding my phone without the fear of it being snatched. And also, public transport is very convenient, so I don't have to drive myself. Yeah,
Do you drive a lot in the Philippines?
I do drive a lot in the Philippines because we don't have good public transport. A lot of people own cars. We just drive.
When you came to Singapore for the first time, what was your biggest surprise?
My biggest surprise. Okay, so I work in sales for a brand called Realme, right? So I have to go around different parts of Singapore. So I've been to Singapore a few times before as a tourist, and of course, I'd go to the touristy areas like Marina, Sentosa, Chinatown. And then because of my work, I have to go to a lot of places which are more local. For example, Topayo, Canberra, and like Tampines, like that. So a lot of the areas that I go to are the areas like under HDBs. So under HDBs, you'd find a lot of stores. So there's all kinds of stores like bakeries, and then you have phone shops, which I go to, and then you also have those other kinds of random shops, fruit shops. So that was the first time that I've seen the more local side of Singapore, and that was the biggest shock to me. Like, oh, okay, so Singapore is not as modern as I
Yeah.
thought. Yeah.
It's really interesting you said that because usually from an outsider's perspective we see the skyline of Singapore, but
Mm,
we actually don't see
agree.
the local
Yeah.
side of it.
Mm.
So what are some things that you do to immerse yourself into the Singaporean culture?
So this is something I didn't do on purpose at the start, but I have a relative here who goes to a church, and then he invited me to this event where I met so many people there. I realized that it was near my house, so I do
Mm.
go there. It's not like purposely immersing myself to experience more of the Singapore culture, but I guess there I met a lot of locals and became friends with them. So that's where I get to learn a lot more about the local culture. So not exactly on purpose,
Mm.
but yeah.
How do you like the hawker centers here?
I really love the hawker centers. I love how food is affordable and yummy. And then a lot of the foods that would be on the pricier side in Manila, like
Mm.
Chinese food, for example, duck rice or chicken rice. In the hawker centers, it's really cheap. And also sugarcane. I love sugarcane. Yeah.
What's your favorite Singaporean food if you don't mind?
Chicken rice.
Really?
Yeah, chicken
Anything
rice.
else?
Anything else? Uh, duck rice.
Duck rice.
Yeah. It's really chicken rice, but I love duck rice as well.
Now you talked about your life in Singapore. How
Mm.
would you describe the work that you're having here?
So I work for a company called Realme. So I wouldn't say it's very uh, close to a normal Singaporean company because it's it's a small company here, and we don't have a lot of people as well, and a lot are not like born and raised in Singapore in our company. So I'd say it won't represent the normal Singaporean company, but I like my work. So right now we're a small company. There's a lot of work to be done. And because we're a small company, there's a lot of job scopes.
Mm.
So not only do I do sales, I also do like after sales, and then I every now and then I do design and wherever the company needs work, and yeah, we all work together.
Was there ever a time that you were burned out from work?
Well, I don't really get burned out in terms of work. So I do get like really busy, and I guess I don't let it burn me out. Do I get really tired and stressed? Yeah, sometimes, but I guess never burnt out. Yeah.
So, what are some leisure activities that you do to maintain a balanced life?
The number one thing I do here in Singapore as a leisure thing that I don't really get to do in Manila would be cycling. So I love that there are a lot of cycling paths. So my favorite cycling path would be the one from Marina to East Coast or to Stadium. Actually, those two quite similar. And then there are other cycling paths that I haven't really tried, but I should try more. But yes, that one.
So, what are some things that people must know before coming to Singapore if they want to work here?
Honestly, I think nothing really. I feel like it's not hard to adapt to Singapore. So maybe just your own mental preparation, your own research before going here, and about what places are near your office and like stuff like that. But honestly, I don't think there's anything to really prepare for aside from the normal stuff.
What are some things that you did to prepare yourself before moving to Singapore?
I guess I just did the regular stuff.
Mm.
So I packed the suitcase with clothes I think I would need and other stuff like my steamer, and then I downloaded the property search app. So I think there's two popular ones, Property Guru and 99 something. So yeah, and then I started searching about places. But yeah, I did bring much the first time I came. And then I also did the research about how to officially register myself as an OFW, both in Singapore and in the Philippines. So yeah.
How hard is it to find a property here? Because Singapore housing can be quite expensive, right?
Yes, yes. So to randomly find a property is quite easy because of the apps, and then I feel like there's quite a number of postings for you to choose from, but to find one that is appropriate for you it would take a bit of time, but at the same time I don't think it was hard. So personally it took me around 2 weeks for my place. So my requirements were at least at this point in time and at that point in time last year when I moved was I wanted my own bathroom, and then I wanted a place near my office so that I can just walk if I want to and burn some calories. So yeah, it took me 2 weeks. Yeah, it's like not easy, but at the same time not hard. Yeah.
And speaking of not easy and not hard, how prepared were you to leave your family now that you're here?
Okay, I'm super prepared. So personally, I'm not a very attached person in general. And this isn't my first time living overseas. So this is my third time, but it's my first time working. So I had two other times for studies. Yeah, I guess it was very easy. I was so ready. Though I got this question a lot from friends and family before I left, like, oh, it's gonna be hard. I'm gonna leave people. And I personally don't think Singapore is that far. And it's easy for me to go back and it's easy for them to visit as well in Singapore. And it's also not that expensive. So yeah, it's okay.
So you mentioned that it wasn't too hard to say goodbye to your family, right?
Yeah,
How about your friends?
it wasn't hard as well because I feel like with social media and the fact that we can still talk even if we're not physically together. So I think it really doesn't affect me that much. Yeah, because either way we still get to communicate. Yeah, and then for example, my family and friends. So maybe we don't meet in Singapore, maybe we don't meet in Manila, but we can meet somewhere else, like my family trips or friend
Mm.
trips. Yeah.
What was your most memorable experience in Singapore?
Definitely, there's a lot because I'm the type of person who likes to try stuff, and I still have a lot on my list that I have to try in Singapore. But if I were to pick just one, so it would be the time that I went to the slingshot in Clark Key. So it was a ride. So we don't have it in the Philippines, and I don't think a lot of countries have it as well. So personally, I'm a thrill seeker. So slingshot is a ride where you get pulled down a bit and then you get shot high up in the air.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So a friend spontaneously invited me on my birthday to do that, and it was on my list for a long time. But it's just so hard to find a person who's willing to ride that ride because honestly, it's quite extreme, like even more extreme than a regular roller coaster. In my
So since you've stayed in Singapore for 1 year, how
Hmm.
have you grown as a person?
How have I grown? Since this isn't my first time living overseas by myself, so I wouldn't say I have grown in a way of being independent and stuff because it's not my first time. But definitely, from work, I've grown a lot in terms of handling different works that I never really encountered before, or I don't used to do in my previous job. So now we have to learn how to do these things by ourselves, and then also with the people I've met here. So I guess I've grown to have like really local friends because in my past experiences I had like friends who are also from the Philippines who are also studying overseas, not
Mhm.
exactly local friends. So yeah.
I'm really glad to hear that you managed to make local friends because it really does take time to befriend local people from my experience as a
Mm.
student here. Because at first I was only making friends with other Filipinos and international students, but
Mm.
slowly I got to open up to more local people as well.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. That's the tendency at first, right? Yeah.
There's like this bubble where you're only limited to interacting with certain people that have more things in common with you.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's still really nice to have friends from Philippines because it's really like, Johanna, you wanna come? Johanna, Johanna, you wanna come in the video? So introduce the friend from Philippines. So we were talking about how it's also nice to have friends from our home country because we have a lot of relatable topics. So yeah, this is Johanna. So personally, I'm a Philchai, right? And I feel like there's very few Philchais in Singapore. So when we first met each other at church, I was like, "Whoa, Philchai, my age!" And then yeah, instant friend. Yeah.
So Johanna, how long have you been in Singapore?
Yeah, so I've been in Singapore for around 7 years. 7 years now, I think. I came for university, then I started to work in tech, then I recently just moved to finance. I got my PR last year.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And since you've been staying in Singapore for 7 years, what is one thing that the audience must know before moving to Singapore?
Hmm. Honestly, I think it's kind of like having a long term vision of what you want to do and what you want to achieve, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day. Because I think it's really up to you to write whatever story you want to have and live whatever life that you want to have. And I think everybody should be able to have that opportunity to choose for themselves what that looks like. And yeah, I think so. If whether it's a short term stint here or whether it's like a long term kind of vision that you have for yourself in terms of moving to a different country, right? I think it's just important to be very clear on what that goals look like. Because some people, they transit here maybe for academics,
Mm.
or maybe they want to do a 1-2 year job rotation for a while or a job program here for a while, and then bring that back to the Philippines and help that stimulate the economy and the ecosystem there. And I think ultimately it's just to know what you want and also enjoy the journey throughout.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And you, Denise, do you plan to stay in Singapore long term?
I get this question a lot. So right now, since I have only recently completed 1 year in Singapore, I feel like the time is a bit short for me to think that I want to stay here long term. So right now, it's a question still. So right now, I'm not leaning towards staying here my whole life. Yeah. But who knows, right? Who knows? But so far, no plans yet. My final plan is still be disciplined enough and to get a business idea and then go back to Philippines and do business like the usual. Yeah, yeah, but who knows?
Okay, so the final question I have for both of you is if all three of us were to die tomorrow and you had one guiding principle for the audience, what would it be?
Guiding principle. Okay, I have to think you first.
Sure. I think for me, ultimately, I think life is really about relationships and it's having that good character and having that depth of genuine relationships in life. So for me, something that I always believe in and always stand by is that even when no one is looking, be a person of integrity, be someone who's authentic, and really be that person who does the extra mile for others, because I think the world could be a better place if we all just loved and cared for one another a bit more. And yeah, I think that's what it is. It's not about those shiny things, not about those achievements, not about those accolades, not about those titles, but really ultimately being a person of character and being someone who loves other people too.
I really love that.
That was really nice. Okay, so I guess mine would be to live your life to the fullest based on your own definition of a full life. So I think life is too short to stick to the normal life routine, like you study, get married, whatever. So here I am out here having fun. Yeah. So a lot of people, like for example, working overseas or something, is not part of their life
Mhm.
plan, but like do what makes you happy, but also wisely. Don't just spontaneously randomly do it. Yeah.
Don't do it for the sake of other people doing it.
Yeah, or for the sake of you being able to do it, but at that time you don't have the means to do it yet, something like that. Yeah, so do what makes you happy. Yeah,
So thank you so much, both of you, for
don't live a boring life.
thank you so much for your time here. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Before you click on my next video, don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't done so. And I'll see you in the next video.